Good evening. I call this Thursday, June 25th, 2026 meeting of the Plastow ZBA to order at 6:30 PM. Shay, would you please call the roll?
Michael Murray,
Present.
Ryan Lebrecq,
Here virtually.
Jim Unger, excused, Jason Orsini,
Here.
Teresa Kane,
Here.
and Peter Belo, excused.
Okay, thank you. Teresa, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot?
Well, I
here?
mean, you did
Go ahead.
last week.
Go ahead, Jim, you can do it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I talk all day, Mike.
Okay, has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions or any changes someone would like to make?
I would like to make sure, and maybe we do this after we approve them or not, that everybody received my letter that I had written in regards to the meeting and some of the topics that we had discussed.
For the letter that you had sent earlier this week?
Yes.
Yep, that was
in the
distributed.
package?
That was distributed to the full board, and it's in your meeting materials in
Yep.
front of you.
Okay.
You see.
Yeah, okay. Okay, do I have a motion for the minutes, please?
I motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
Second.
Okay, Shay, you already called the roll. There are no cases before the board today. I have on the schedule about potential alternate member. I don't see anyone here.
I think we should finish the discussion on the minutes and vote on that, and then we can move
Could you
forward.
speak a little louder here?
Let's finish the discussion on the minutes, and then we can take the vote on that, and then move forward
okay.
on to the rest.
Okay, no further discussion on the minutes. We have a motion, okay. Take the vote, please.
Yep, Michael Murray,
Yes?
Ryan Lebrecq,
Yes. Yes.
Jason Orsini,
Yes.
and Teresa Kane.
Yes.
Right. The vote is 4-0-0.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so had you heard from Mrs. St. Clair if she was coming or not?
I have not heard from Mrs. Leclerc. I had sent her at least 2 different emails about this meeting date. Last I had heard from her, she'd asked me to let her know when the next meeting was and that she'd be happy to attend and introduce herself to the board, but I have not heard from her.
She had no response. And I understand that the other application was withdrawn.
That's correct.
Okay,
And the other application being?
It was from Barb Burry,
Okay.
who was a previous member on the ZBA, as I understand it.
okay, so we have no person to move as interviewing for the alternate position.
Well,
So-
before we move on, Michael, I'd like to ask if my letter had been shared with town council or the ZBA council.
It was not.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd sent a memo to Shay to include that in everyone's package.
So did everybody have a chance to read it?
I have.
Okay.
I
would-
Well.
I'm sorry?
I have as well.
Okay, I guess I'm a little concerned, one, of the fact that it didn't go to council kind of concerns me. Only because of what is in the letter. And some of the concerns, I would have had liked an opinion from them to see if there is anything.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, it does, based on some of the evidence that was provided, it does seem that, one, I don't think there's reason why the Board of Selectmen should be selecting our alternates. And two, the secondary, obviously, RSA perspective, there's certainly evidence against the candidate as being eligible, regardless of who's selecting them.
Well, there's two things to that, Ryan, if I can address your first one. That was part of the whole vote last year, was to take out the Board of Selectmen on appointing anyone. It's the ZBA's responsibility to choose. Not, we had sent it to them for a recommendation, not for an appointment. They have no authority. So in my opinion, that is a null and void vote for the appointment. It's not a valid appointment. They have no authority to do it.
Right. It seems like I don't know how or why they're interjected in the process. Seems like a direction was given as such wasn't appropriate interjection in the process. Apologies, I can't talk too much.
Okay, I'm taking a look at the Chapter 3, or 673 on filling vacancies in membership, Roman numeral 2, for an appointed ex officio or alternate member by the original appointing or designating authority for the unexpired term. Vacancy is filled in the manner set forth in paragraph 1 or 2. If the vacancy is for an ex officio member, the chairperson only may designate the person appointed to serve as the alternate for the ex officio member, and that ex officio doesn't apply in this case.
I guess that's one of the reasons why, Michael, I thought this would go to council. I just don't see how, if we voted on it on the at the election, that we were to remove the Board of Selectmen to sever those ties is what we voted on. Then how can we say it's a valid appointment? They have no authority.
Well,
Unless somebody can tell me something different, I don't see where their authority is. And I'd like to make a motion to revote, to be quite honest with you. I think that their appointment it's not valid. It's just not a valid, in my opinion.
in your opinion, I take a look at it as a zoning board. We voted, 3-2.
We voted for a recommendation, not an appointment. So, which is why I went back, because if I had been remembering correctly, which I did, that was part of the whole ballot to sever those ties with the Board of Selectmen in appointing. That's how we became elected.
Okay, what section was that in? Because that election was what, in 25?
Yep.
And
Wasn't it Article 20? 137.1? Am I correct on that?
I don't have it pulled up, but I believe so. My understanding is that under the RSAs and 673.3, until the ZBA is a fully elected board, then the BOS still has authority to appoint members.
So 673.12 though, okay? Filling vacancies and memberships. Is not part, for an elected member by appointment by the remaining board members until the next regular municipal election, at which time a successor shall be elected to either fill an unexpired term or start a new term. So for an appointed or an ex officio or alternate member by originally appointing, I think we're reading it, in my opinion, that incorrectly. I think that we're not having to wait until it's expired. And even without that, I still have valid concern.
What's historically been past practice?
I'm sorry?
What's historically been past practice?
Basically, the way that we had performed at last meeting.
The Board of Selectmen were appointing any board member.
Right.
Up here.
Yep.
In the 25 election, one of the items was to have an elected board as opposed to an appointed board, which severed those ties with the Board of Selectmen, in my opinion.
Okay. I believe that until we have all 5 members elected, when that happens, that'll be the case. But for now, until we have all 5 members elected, we go with the previous or the current method of doing it.
But it's incorrect.
If the board wants this question specifically to be run by legal, I would be happy to do that. But I
And I think
need that
that
direction from the board.
yeah, I mean, Michael, I'm not, we can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're doing this on a friendly basis.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. I just think that so you're basically, not you, we're saying that what the town voted for, and I'll go back to my sections and look at whether it's expired or not, but I don't believe that's the case.
Okay.
Well, whatever is past precedent doesn't necessarily equals correct either. I don't know how they came about assuming the authority of selecting the as opposed to voting for some sure. I would imagine there's something on the RSA that allows that, I guess.
And I'm asking a question, though, where has that been part of, I guess, the town's bylaws? As far as that, where can we find that?
Looks like section 25.
I'm sorry, what did you said, 225?
Yeah, it's on page 4 of what came to us the current approved, the link to the website, current bylaws. See if there's mention also.
if you're looking at chapter 225, that's the rules of procedure for the planning board. The ZBA bylaws are in chapter 220.
Oh, it is. Why would
The board asked that I send that out to them.
My bad. I will search for that. Yeah, lots of files.
I thought I had it right here, but I don't. Now, why can't I find this? Which one did you say it was, Michael? 673-3?
Well, that was in RSA 673:12, filling vacancies in membership.
Right, and that's what I just read. That's vacancies in the membership of a local land use board occurring other than the expiration of a term of office shall be filled as follows. For an elected member by appointment by the remaining board members until the next regular municipal election, at which time a successor shall be elected to either fill the unexpired term or start a new term as appropriate. That's one. You're saying it's 3. Of course, I don't have 3 here.
No, what I was quoting was 2, and then 3 was for an ex officio member.
For an appointed or an ex officio or alternate member by the original appointing or designating authority for the unexpired term.
Number 2 there says for an appointed ex officio or alternate member. And so we're looking at an alternate member by the original appointing or designating authority.
So 673-6, appointment number in terms of alternate members. In a town which votes to elect its planning board member on a staggered basis according to the provision of RSA 673-2B2, alternate members of the planning board, that's planning board, shall continue to be appointed according to the provisions of this paragraph until each member of the board is an elected member. An elected zoning board of adjustments may appoint 5 alternate members for a term of 3 years, which shall be staggered in the same manner as elected members pursuant to RSA 673-5-2. I just read it differently. The alternate for a city or town council member, selectman, or village district commission member, that's number 3. You know, the terms of an alternate member shall be the same as those for the respective members and be in addition to the alternates provided in paragraph 1. I just don't see how, I don't see where the Board of Selectmen come in. I don't, we voted on it, we said no. You still, how many members do we have that still are under the appointed?
I believe we have 2 members. Is that correct? You have Jason
Ryan.
Orsini and Ryan Lebrecht. They're still appointed.
So because they're still under the appointment, we're saying that this has to go to them?
Yes.
I disagree. I strongly disagree on that. And that's why I would have thought that this would have gone to council to at least vet some of the, because we all interpret things differently. And I'm interpreting it how I'm stating it. In regardless of that, if we had gone through, if you had read through the whole thing, I don't believe the alternate member applicant meets the criteria to become an alternate member due to actions from previous things. I don't think that it's, I think we're making a choice here.
I don't know, is there any exclusion for past actions? Or they even mentioned for a former member coming back?
Let me ask you this, Michael. If you were to come before the ZBA on something that was passed in '25, and you knew the actions of one of the ZBA members, not an utterance, not me and you having a conversation saying, I don't like that, a full-blown campaign where you've put signs stating your opinion on it, aren't we supposed to be impartial, not have opinions on certain things that are clearly in our RSAs? I mean, a campaign sign is a lot different than me and you having a conversation.
But then I'm looking for more as a, American citizen having the right. He did not do that theoretically or specifically as a member of the council. He did that as a citizen.
He was the chairman of the board.
I don't think it means you don't have, you're not allowed to have an opinion and vote your conscience however you want to vote it. I think there's a difference between that and
A campaign.
organizing against, basically other boards' proposed actions. I'm just summarily rejecting everything.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason.
It's irrelevant of the reason. In my opinion, what one of our things to be is in different, is to be, the points that the oath that we take, and I think my letter speaks for itself, allows for the appointment of, an alternate member. Okay. He was under oath of office when he campaigned against the adoption of ordinances, and I'm hard pressed to reconcile the duty under my oath that it's faithful and impartially discharged to perform all his duties. If I'm going to tell you right now, if I had to come before the board and know what I know, we've opened up ourselves to some possible legal problems, because I would say that the person, you've already told me how you felt in that election by your campaign.
Okay, now going a little bit back, as I understand it, that because of that, you and your husband filed a lawsuit.
Has nothing to do with it. That's between my husband, and that has nothing to do with this right now, Michael.
But it does have something to do on you excluding yourself from voting on the appointment for
Not at all. Why?
conflict of interest.
No. What was his conflict of interest?
There's no conflict of interest. He's giving his opinion
No.
for an election. For an election, he gave his opinion.
He did a campaign as an appointed official to the ZBA of his desire not to have any, and I mean any, of the items passed. Not only was it on his lawn, it was on several other people's lawns, and it should have been called. It should have been called out then and there. My husband has nothing to do with what I'm saying. His lawsuit with the town, I wouldn't be able to tell you about any of it right now. It's irrelevant, in my opinion. If anyone came before us right now, we're opening up that same potential path of a lawsuit or an appeal, because they're already made their choice. They've already said how they felt.
About voting on a change, not in applying the existing law.
I'm going to agree to disagree. An utterance is different than going out and spending money and asking people, not only on social media, because we can't control that, but actually putting it on out there, saying that you're not agreeing. That's not an opinion. That's a campaign, in my opinion. And that's all this is my opinion. Now, I do not know Mr. Belo from Adam. I've never met the man. I've never been introduced to him. I've never spoken to him other than one time. So I have no say on whether he deserves to be on or not. I'm trying to go by what's in here. And in my opinion, he does not meet the standard of our oath for several reasons. Those are personal reasons, but I won't get into that. Okay? If I thought that he was just making an opinion, maybe my thoughts would be different, but I don't.
Does it make sense to just read the letter and then have it? I don't know if anybody public watches these or not, but if they do, they probably have no context of what we're talking about.
Well, that's true.
But it seems to me like it makes sense to kind of go through it.
But it is public knowledge, Ryan. It is, people can do a right to know to get this letter also.
I understand. In my opinion, right to know is to get the answer.
Yeah.
Not my opinion, my experience. But anyway, it's up to you guys. I just feel like there's two issues. I think both of them are disposable. I think the board. I don't see other than past precedents if someone decided. I don't see now that we're elected why the board involved at all in making an appointment. That doesn't mean you can't be appointed. This board would just vote again and either vote
That's correct.
or not.
That's correct.
But on the second part, I think that.
You know, he had people at the polling stations holding signs. In his capacity as the chairman of the board.
So I think the concern would be, I think you say in the letter, would be that, and I don't know the specifics of what passed, what didn't pass, et cetera, but just playing devil's advocate. Something that the planning board put forth that was campaigned against by that campaign didn't pass. And then someone came in front of us for a variance because they wanted to do what would have been allowed if it had passed. And in that case, you know, he's already campaigned against it and basically publicly tried to, or successfully got it voted down. Now applicant's trying to pursue that. It just, I guess anyone could argue that he would recuse himself. I don't think he would, but I think that's why it's just different. It's a different scenario than voting something. We can all vote.
That's correct. And I'm not taking that away from anybody. I mean, you want to vote however you want to vote. But as I said, it wasn't an excited utterance. It was on social media. It was immediate, definite, and demonstrated campaign. Again, my opinion.
Which the RSA seemed very clear about that not being.
He's now not indifferent, in my opinion, and he wasn't then, And I said at the last meeting, he left this board in a lurch during the election. He didn't want it to be an elected party. And his comment was, well, judges don't get elected. Judges most certainly do too get elected. Not all judges are appointed. I just don't think he fits the definition of what it is we're supposed to do here.
Why didn't he get kicked off the board when that happened if that was so egregious? Why was he still allowed?
Did you know anything about it, Jim?
Jay, but no.
Oh, Jay, I'm sorry.
Okay. No, but I wasn't on the thing, and I would assume that people here on the board would have known about it.
You'd have to ask those individuals.
Yeah. I mean, that to me is more of an issue of the board. If the board was aware of it and knew it came up.
Well, and that is true. I agree. But if you had the opportunity to read my letter, one of the last pages, which Mr. Unger had responded to on something simple as the ZBA chair regarding the request to review and comment on the proposed amendments of the zoning orders. Thank Mr. Kane and the Planning Board for including the Zoning Board of Adjustments in their due diligence process for reviewing the Plastow zoning ordinances. However, it would be inappropriate for the ZBA to review and comment on potential zoning amendments, as the time may come when the board is asked to consider a request for relief from any of the amending zoning ordinance. Okay? How can Mr. Unger send this on something, and again, my opinion, is far less than campaigning? Where the board to discuss these proposed amendments and the board members express their opinions in reviewing the amendments, there is the potential that member could be seen as having a bias by a future applicant or an abutter, and then they might be asked to recuse themselves. That's from Mr. Unger.
Yes. Wouldn't it make sense though if we went to a vote and 3 people said yes on them, and I understand whatever, and then no, then you guys voted no, then if that's not satisfactory, then wouldn't that go to the Board of Selectmen? Because it's going to be a stalemate. If you know what I mean? If you guys think he shouldn't and 3 people says he should.
No, the 3 people said we were going to recommend it.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, but I'm not well versed yet.
Neither.
But if my understanding is we no longer need the Board of Selectmen to appoint. That's something that I think that council maybe would have had some direction on.
Yeah.
I don't think, how I'm reading it, that was the whole point, was to sever those ties, if you will, for lack of a better word.
So we would have the ultimate say?
We're the board. We're supposed to say yay or nay. not the Board of Selectmen, whether it's an alternate, or you're elected.
Yeah.
The people vote, not us,
Yep.
but on an alternate member, it's up to us. That's how I'm interpreting it.
At the last meeting, excuse me, we had the discussions about this, and it was brought up, basically that's the way it was done. You've gone since that point and you've formed a different opinion on something else, so about by what you've read, and you're sharing that information with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then I think if that's the case, we'd have to find out if that's actually legally what we're supposed to do. And if that is the case, then we'd have to wait till everyone's here and re-vote, right? Wouldn't that make sense?
Well, you
Well-
don't wait till everyone's here. You vote with whoever's here.
Don't you need at least,
Right now, it is, I'm conflicted as to what's right, what's the right way to do it.
I agree.
I think we need to go get legal counsel as to exactly what this means and how we should proceed.
And I don't disagree with that, Michael. I think that, at the end of the day, whether it comes back to us or not, okay, I think you're absolutely right. It does need to be discussed. It needs to be vetted by council, which, again, I thought would have. And then we revote. If it comes to us, then we revote. Again, I would still bring up my points of, I don't think that he meets the qualifications of the standard of the oath that we take. That's how I see it right at the moment. He's not impartial. He's not impartial to certain things. He made that clear by the polling at the election and the signs, in my opinion.
I would say
Well,
that,
from not wanting to be voted into because of the ability to be bought essentially by voters. I think that argument for quitting falls on its face because if you're appointed by 5 people, your ability to buy those 5 people is very compared to appointed by the general public and buying votes from the general public. So I think the whole argument, the reason for quitting falls on its face. Other than maybe it's easier to influence the board of selectmen as opposed to the entire public. But regardless, that and the way in which the gentleman quit, I mean, could have easily quit, but by letting his term expire and not putting himself forward for a vote instead of trying to make a statement and going down by fire play and trying to lead forward in the vote. So I just there just seems to be lots of reasons not to continue with this gentleman as an alternate. I just feel like it's just going to continue to pull the board for no reason.
but what Teresa had said just before was about the oath and abiding by everything. Just because he differs with the law doesn't mean he won't follow it.
He was in a position to, in my opinion, not to have a view publicly. Again, you and I are talking and I say, hey, Michael, I don't like that copier. but the state wants to get it. I go out and I campaign and I get signs and have people at the polling station and say, the state wants to buy these copiers because they don't like what we have or whatever. I am biased by that now. It's not, he campaigned. He, in my opinion, should not have campaigned. If he had said to you, I don't like any of these items that are up for on the tickets, okay, that's his opinion. He can vote however he wants. But to try to change a majority of people's opinions by signs and placing them all over town is something different in my mind. If I want attention, I'm going to go get signs, and it's no longer my opinion, it's how I feel. That's just,
But if, you lose like he did in this election, do you feel that he could not abide
he didn't lose in this election, Michael. He didn't participate in it. Oh, you mean on the yeah, okay. Yeah.
on that? Okay, and you find out that that's the law or whatever the issue is, and that's the way it's going. Can a person be able to follow that? I can see a person being upset and needing a timeout or whatever, but when things cool off, shall we say, do not go back and be able to do what was decided.
But my opinion doesn't matter, Michael. The law does. That these do. What's in here matters, and what they say matters. I don't, it doesn't matter how I feel. It doesn't matter whether he's on or not. It's, am I following the law? That's what I'm trying to get to. He didn't, in my opinion. That's the oath that I took. That's the training that I took. He has directly or indirectly given his opinion or has formed an opinion. And that's his campaign.
For an elective item.
For all of them. For every single item, he said to vote no. He's not in a position to give that out publicly. He wants to talk to you and say it, fine. It's not an utterance, it's a campaign. He was sitting in a capacity that could be tainted or taint other members, or give an open door to somebody who's coming in and saying, hey, I remember he campaigned against that. So you know what? I think he's not impartial to it. I'm going to appeal, or I'm going to go further with this. So who does that cost? That costs taxpayers the money, because he didn't say it to just one person. It was a commodity of a community of people that he made it known to.
Yeah.
And you're asking me my opinion. It's irrelevant, my opinion.
And I view the point where you have the politicians today on all the different news stations and whatnot making their campaigns. What happens after,
I get
they
that, but
lose
again,
elections.
I'm not talking about being on the news station or any politician. I'm talking about right here, the interpretation of the ordinances in what we're asked to do. The ZBA, as the interpreter of the zoning ordinance, is considered a quasi-judicial board, and its members under the New Hampshire law must meet the so-called juror standard, which is contained in the RSA 500-A12 examination. Any juror may be required by the court on a motion of a party in the case to be tried to answer upon oath if he, A, expects to gain or lose upon the deposition of the case, B, is related to either party, C, has advised or assisted either party. D, has directly or indirectly given his opinion or has formed an opinion. If it appears that any juror is not indifferent, he shall be set aside on that. That's my stance. I think my letter speaks for itself. I think that my points are valid. I think that, we can argue this all day long. I think it needs to go to council. And I think for me, it's a null and void that the Board of Selectmen appointed him. And I'm not going to change my stance because I'm reading right from the RSA what we're supposed to be doing. And I don't think it's the appearance, and that's where he gets, whether it's his intent or not, he did it. It disqualifies them from it, according to the RSA.
Where does it say it disqualifies it from? It's just saying he may be upon to answer oath. Where does it say he's disqualified? It said the juror may be required by the court on motion of a party in the case to be tried to answer upon oath if he, and then it lists those A through G as you said. It said may. It doesn't say he's disqualified. Where are you reading that?
I'm saying it
okay.
disqualifies him.
Because of those reasons?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because he formed an opinion.
Okay.
Sitting as the chairman of the board.
Yeah. Yep. I get it.
And hey, he's entitled to anything that he wants to say, do, whatever. This, as I said, is not free speech. It's a position that he was making a point. So again, if I'm someone coming before and I know the history, I don't know. I'd be a little suspicious of whether it's an opinion or if he's following the law.
I think Teresa's right. I don't think it's going to get settled today. So we can argue all day about this. So might as well get to legal and then go from there, I would say.
Is that acceptable to everybody?
It's acceptable to me.
Okay.
Yes.
Then we'll get in contact with the attorneys that I guess I don't say that are responsible for the zoning board, but assigned for the zoning board, and go through the discussion.
I think it's on both points. One, the Board of Selectmen involvement, two, the discussion we shut regarding again.
Okay. Okay. Okay, we've discussed enough on this, so we can move on to the next.
Yes.
Okay. Don't want to cut you short.
No, that's, I think, I do have one question though, Shay. If it does go to council and a opinion is rendered, do we see that opinion?
Well, what we've done in the past, and I think this raises to it, that we either have the information is presented to council, and then there's a discussion, either the attorney will come here personally, or lately we've been doing it via telephone, so we don't have to pay them attorney's fees for travel. So that I'd say that, after that's done, and we'll set up a time to have either a call or a face-to-face meeting, and it will be a private meeting. It is not a public meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, do we have any other business, Shay?
The only other item on the agenda is the bylaw draft changes. Looking at the bylaws and draft changes.
Okay,
So
well, we had dumped a lot of files on you people, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if everyone hasn't had a chance to review them yet. Is there any particular areas besides what we've just been talking about that require special attention as we go through the bylaws? And don't be afraid, we can,
I don't think I'm afraid of too much right now, Michael. I know I gave a lot. I had looked through towns that were our size or comparable. Some of them I think fit better than others. And I didn't have the opportunity to really go back and kind of look at the wording for what, different, I mean, what did I send? 9? What did I send?
I don't know how many, because I didn't given Shay 4 different towns, mostly local here.
Right.
And I can't remember whether you gave 4 or 5 towns.
I mean, I think that if we look at them, individually and kind of compare what we have and what some of the other, I think there are some that are better than others. And I'm trying to find my note for the communication piece, I think was good. What was that, from Hanover?
Okay.
And I don't think that, I think Newton has the biggest packet,
that's correct.
but I don't think we need, from what little I have read, you don't need to have 50 pages.
No.
I think that we can kind of keep, some of the things that we have, but expand or clarify.
Yeah, and, okay, so shall we give a homework assignment to the board to go through these 8 or 9 examples that we've received in the last mailings and come back with suggestions at the next meeting?
Yep, I'm fine with that.
Okay. You okay with that, Ron?
Yeah, I was thinking today, like, just trying to, not that we have to amalgamate all the towns, but.
Well, I don't know if you have to amalgamate all the towns, but as you reread through Plastow, and then as you read through the other towns, make notes on what you think can be, improved or perhaps substituted, or maybe something new for us or something to eliminate for us. And then we can come up and put our heads together at the next meeting.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking through ways to use technology to do stuff.
Well, you can.
Upload to AI all of them and amalgamate one document that covers everything, go through it.
Well, I think I put something in there, Ryan, for that, the Appendix A.
I saw yours. Is that suggested version, something that you're, is that the draft you want to focus on?
Again, I haven't, I just put in what towns were similar in size to us
Yeah, I see
and
that.
haven't had a chance to really look at them in depth. I do work full-time. So
there's
it's,
one file that says suggested rules of procedure.
Right.
What is the one right?
that's Appendix A. That came from the the Board of Adjustments in New Hampshire.
The ZBA handbook. So you all have a copy of that. You were all given a copy when you.
Oh, okay,
Join
that
the
came
board.
out of the ZBA handbook?
Yes.
All right, sounds good. I just wasn't sure if that's Teresa has some thought on it.
No.
Right. That's
Thank you,
just-
but no.
No problem. You still did lots of research, that's appreciated.
And I think for our bylaws, as we found tonight, we do need to clarify.
Yes, I agree. I had trouble, I don't say trouble reading, but trouble understanding what they were saying.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean,
Although that's the case with almost every legal document.
that's correct. And as for your suggestion, Ryan, you can do that.
Yeah,
But
I
you
might
can
put
also
it just to
see what you get.
Yeah, may not be enough, but can't hurt to try. It's only 25 pages long.
Right. And I don't think we need that.
No, I'm not, yeah. Right, but there might be some good parts and pieces that we want to make some research. Okay, sounds like a good homework assignment.
I'll do some more looking at it. So are we going to put a date on that, Michael?
For the next meeting, we'll have
Next
a
meeting?
discussion.
Okay.
We probably won't decide the final version for a long time,
Correct. So
but
let-
keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, it looks like there's requirement to have a public hearing too. Once we settle out on it, I read that somewhere.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's a little ways down the line because we have to have a draft, and once it's finalized, a public hearing before adoption.
Yeah, we'd have, and then have the attorneys review it.
Correct.
So our next meeting's
And
July
then it'll be
30th, right?
confusing after they give their suggestions.
Yeah. Okay. Can I ask a question? Would it be easier if we redlined stuff? Shay, so if we took the plast out, all right, and I saw something in Newton, just highlight it, slip it in? Or how do we want to do this? Because everybody's going to have a different document that they want to slip something into.
Oh, and they're all PDFs too. They're not making it easy. I mean, I have a PDF right here. I use a professional. Most people can't modify PDFs.
Still working decades ago, that I did a lot of editing of people's reports, and we did have on Word the ability to edit, and you could see the changes. But how that would work for, 5 people coming in with changes on the one document, I don't know how that would work.
Well, it wouldn't. I mean, if Jay looked at something and said, oh, I think that this would pertain to Plastow when it's out of Newton, and right, so would you just cut that excerpt out of the Newton one and put it in the Plastow redlined?
Or
So we do have a Word version of the Plastow one because that's our document. I would suggest taking a look at that at the next meeting. We can have it pulled up on the screen, that version, and people can bring, I would suggest bringing your proposed amendments, additions that you want from other towns, et cetera, to that meeting, and we can go through the drafting and adding and redlining that document
Okay,
during
as
the public
opposed to,
meeting.
okay,
Yep.
okay, that's great. That's great,
But I'll have that available up on the screen for next meeting.
perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, Shay, do we have any other business?
Nope.
Does anyone else on the board have anything they'd like to add?
Done enough damage.
Okay, then I am adjourning this meeting at 7:30 PM.